And welcome to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.
Ready? We do it again?
Sorry. That's okay.
We'll do it later. Hi, I'm Steve Levine. I'm Executive Publisher of Small Business Today Magazine and your co-host.
And I'm Barbara Davis-Veen, Associate Publisher, Creative Director, Head Writer, and Editor of Small Business Today Magazine. The co-host.
That's right.
Because it can't have one co-host without another co-host.
Good point. Although she's hosted the show without me.
As I'm the hostess with the mostest.
That's right. And she's done an okay job, but she's a lot better with me than without me.
That's true, and vice versa.
That's right. And so far, no quips. That's good. And if you're not familiar with Small Business Today Magazine, wow. No kidding? Really, 3 years. Small Business Today Magazine is a publication for and about aspiring entrepreneurs and small business owners with a very special emphasis on minority-owned business, women-owned business, veteran-owned business, and even youthpreneurs. Our mission is to motivate, educate, inspire, and empower an aspiring entrepreneur or small business owner to achieve their dreams of big business success. That's why we were designed. The centerpiece of each magazine is a cover story about somebody who's built a successful business practice without the help of a licensee or franchisee relationship, and now serves as a role model for this and future generations of entrepreneurs. How do you get on the cover, you ask? Hey, good question.
That's a good question.
You got nominated by one of the members of the Publishers Advisory Board.
They can't pay to be on. And the criteria is that there's somebody that started with nothing and built something, and they give back. Those are the two integral factors. We don't care about the dollar volume. We're not measuring that, but it's that they started with nothing and built something, and that they're giving back. In fact, every one of our cover honorees from all the publications, they all share one thing in common, is they say when you stop thinking about what's going in your pocket and you're more concerned about giving and to your clients, that's when you become successful.
And philanthropy is the strongest of the success columns that we use, the success pillars. So philanthropy is very important. They have to be willing to generously share their words of advice at the end of each cover story as takeaway notes, and pick their brain and say, what can I do to build my business, to grow my business, start my business? This is what they would tell you. Some things you find over and over again, right, Barbara?
Exactly. And that's why I say, if you go to every story, go to our archives and start making a compendium of business, or a Bible of business, and then you're going to see duplicates in each story. You want to put an asterisk next to that and make sure you incorporate that into your everyday business practices.
That's right. And some things are very profound, and some things you see over and over and over again.
Exactly. What's the one thing, well, other than giving back, that's the most common one mentioned?
Make sure you have a great relationship with a banker, with an attorney, with a financial planner. Make sure you have enough
mentors. Mentors.
Make sure you have a business plan up to date, and you review it at least quarterly. Because things happen, consumers change. And one of the most uncommon ones, but we like that saying, is the worst idea. Even the worst idea executed is far better than the best idea you only think about.
Yeah, only think about.
In other words, just do it. Even if it's wrong, do it. You know, how many people have failed over and over and over again before they became a success at it? It's just figuring out how it didn't work.
That's it. All of them also share you've got to have determination. You've got to be self-motivated, and no matter what happens, you're in it for the long haul.
I like Kenny's. The buck stops with you.
That's a Harry S. Truman.
That's right.
Exactly. The buck stops here.
And he says you're responsible. It's your business. No matter how many people you have, it's your responsibility to get the job done. Take care of the consumers. They all talk about
their employees. They all talk about caring about their employees, respecting their ideas, and including them, making them inclusive in the making them recognize that every client that they have pays their check, their paycheck. It's not the employer that's paying them; it's the client, and so they make them see that everything they do affects that.
Jerry Brower, who is our July 2012 cover honoree, he has a staff meeting, and the department head can bring in anybody they want, no matter how long they're in the company, or how far up or down on a totem pole, because their feedback is valuable. Those people feel like, hey, they asked me. And I always like to use the analogy because I come from hotel restaurant background.
Right, I like that
You
one.
want to know how good the food is, don't ask the maitre d' or the waiter, ask the dishwasher because they're throwing everything away.
That's it. Makes sense.
So their feedback, the dishwasher's feedback is important. So you don't know who on your team can give you the most valuable information unless you ask.
Exactly.
So a lot of great information. The cover story is a centerpiece, but inside the magazine
Are all the great words
we
of
have
wisdom and
amazing
advice.
content.
Amazing
Content by people like Aimee Woodall, who's been here since day one.
I know,
with
the Black Sheep Agency.
Always got great.
And even the
things.
Black Sheep Agency is a perfect example that you reevaluate your company, you reinvent yourself. Even a company that is creative and redesigned, they even redesigned themselves in their direction. It's just an example of the great knowledge we get from wonderful contributing writers such as Aimee.
And she believes in that paying it forward, and she believes in
yeah.
that giving back, and how close that giving and philanthropy is to entrepreneurship and one's success. When you bless somebody, truly you are blessed, and it may not come right away. And it may not come the way you think it's going to come.
And basically, it doesn't matter. You do it. Don't do it because you're looking to get something as a return.
No.
You do it because it's the right thing.
And you do. Yeah, we are so impatient, I think, as a
know.
community. We hit PayPal, click, mouse click, and I didn't get anything back yet. There's no blessings, but it just
Let me
takes
talk
time.
about. I want to talk about Aimee.
Well, first.
Wait. Okay,
if
yeah.
you want a subscription.
Oh yes, we got.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
If you
want a
want a
subscription,
digital subscription to the magazine, we have finally, as of this morning, not all the parts are working, but we have finally
our new
launched
website,
SBTmagazine.net.
and smallbusinessmagazine.com.
Exactly. It will have its own search engine by topic, tying together the author and all the other columns they've written on various subjects.
And
It'll
it's going to have a master
of
calendar.
events.
Exactly.
This has been so long.
It's
in
also
the making.
it's a page not in there yet, but we're going to even have the Small Business Magazine Speakers Bureau.
That's right.
That if you utilize one of the columnist speakers that are listed on our magazine, you'll get an extra bonus for mentioning our name.
That's right. And also, we have the Small Business Today magazine cruise booked for next
January 15th.
Inviting all our strategic partners to incorporate their people, and they can have their own mini conferences on the same ship.
That's right. We're going to have at each port of call, we're going to have business people there to make connections with, because
Women's Business Enterprise Alliance, Women's Council, Realtors.
All of these groups, we're going to have connections there at each port of call, because that's what our primary thing that Small Business Day Magazine does best is make connections.
That's right. And you can attend any one if you want to go to something, National Association of Minority Contractors.
Or get an MCE class.
Or an MCE class in real estate, or wherever you want to be. They're all going to be open. And fun in the sun, and networking in the various ports we hit.
So everything can be written off for your taxes.
Yeah, I thought so. She likes it. She wants to go, I can tell.
That's right. Well, you can contact.
She's already figured which bikini
Contact
she can pack,
readyforatrip.com if you want to find out more. Readyforatrip.com.
Yes.
And ask about the Small Business Magazine's business cruise.
We have enough time to introduce Aimee. That's a long procession there. I know.
Okay. So.
Hi, Aimee.
Hi.
How you doing? Nice to have you back.
Thanks.
Aimee is the CEO and founder of the Black Sheep Agency. It's a cause-driven brand shop focused on accelerating impact and activating audiences around brands, organizations, and causes that matter. So that's what makes her not just an advertising or marketing agency. It's all that in a box of Cracker Jacks.
From her content and interviews we've had with reporters, she's just so hip.
Oh yeah,
isn't she?
Yeah,
she's just so
great
on
ideas.
top of it. If you Google hip, you'll see it says Aimee's pictures there. Really, for real.
Thanks.
You can just read her columns and know how far.
It's fresh information. Yeah. It's not something that is being restated.
There's nothing like in the box that she does. It's so far out of the box. It's a whole other box.
I think that's such a cliched word.
I know it is,
but it's very fresh, and that's what new ideas, great thinking, always current.
Aren't you impressed with all her columns when you?
Oh, absolutely. It's fun to read. Always learn something new.
There you go.
And also, we just want to thank our sponsors. We have Craig Klein with SalesNexus.com. There's a CRM and email marketing company, and there's so much more than you may pay for the big companies, and they don't get anywhere the customer service and one-on-one attention and a more valuable. Much more reasonable than the price you paid. Paul Marcus, AffordableSearches.com, that actually helped us find the owner of the house when we couldn't find a house to live in, and we found a vacant house.
5 dogs, 2 cats, And
3 birds,
five
birds, 5 birds, and then of
nobody
course
watches Red TV. I got 1 pet.
no.
We had a whole menagerie.
We had Tony Noun of Autoshoppers.biz.
And we lost both cars in a flood. He came.
That's right.
He came down with automobiles for us to use.
And then we have Ronald Coleman MovieWhip.com that
been with us since day one.
That's
here.
right. We do not just movies and videos, but also offers SEO, search engine optimization.
Yeah, he really.
And
is
we have to, of
world-class
course, thank my son Jerome Davis, who is
here?
extraordinary, engineer extraordinaire, and the idea man.
That's right. And we're about to launch some other publications, health and fitness, wellness publications for government employees.
So that's coming up.
Houston, Dallas, and Atlanta.
And right now we're going to go to a break, and you're listening to Small Business Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Paul Marcus, owner of Affordable Searches, your premier investigation company specializing in comprehensive background checks nationwide. Business owners know one of the most important things to do is the hiring of employees. However, if you make mistakes or you don't check them out thoroughly, this could lead to problems. Some of the problems may be unsafe business environment, possible violence in the workplace, negligent hiring, lawsuits, and a turnover of employees. Our website has a wealth of information for you to read and learn how to run the correct background checks. We are also available for free consultations at 1-877-685-6691. Visit our testimonials page to see what our current customers say about us.
And welcome back to Small Business Magazine Talk Show
on the SBT Magazine Radio Network. You got it good.
Yes, there we go. And we are talking to very lovely and very cool Aimee Woodall with the Black Sheep Agency.
She's pretty and smart.
Pretty and smart, exactly.
Thanks,
both.
Guys.
And
Aimee, tell us about your background. I mean, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Houston, actually.
Me
I'm
too.
A native Houstonian.
You got a high five.
Other?
High five. I came around a lot earlier than she did. I think I was where the dinosaurs were around when I got involved.
You said it, don't
I
okay.
did. But so anyway, so where did you go to school?
I went to high school out in the Woodlands. I was the last graduating class of McCullough High School out there, and then
It's got to be young because the Woodlands wasn't around when I was
remember,
young. Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
And then I went to college at the University of Texas. So I left and went to Austin, and then came back home to Houston to begin my career after college.
What were you majoring in college?
Public relations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you come and start working for somebody when you came back?
I did. I worked in business development right out of college for a local architecture firm for a brief period of time, and then made the segue into agency life and have never looked back. Agency life is extraordinarily fast-paced, and for me, it's kind of addictive, actually.
Does it keep you challenged? I mean, do you feel like you need that challenge to keep it interesting?
I've always enjoyed being busy and feeling productive, and I've always been a person who likes to have lots of different things going on at the same time. And agency life, it's hard to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it, because there are fast-paced jobs and then there's agency life, and it's like the fast-paced job on steroids. It's you have to be able to change gears very quickly and have a touch of exhilaration based on having to
Sounds like a perfect job for some of these ADD.
ADD, it's. You have to be very good at jumping around.
That's why ADD works like that.
Yep.
I'm always on adrenaline, and I get excited about that. So I say that would seem like an appealing for that kind of mentality.
I have two unique questions. As you were starting your business, 2 questions. What's the one thing you wished you knew before you started? Mm-hmm. And what's the one thing you're glad you knew? This is for anybody who entrepreneur wants to start an agency, we're talking about getting excited about agencies. What's the one thing you wish you knew, and the one thing you're glad you knew?
Man, I'm a person who appreciates learning. So there are a lot of things that I've learned through experience in running the agency that I kind of appreciate how it unfolded. So, and shortcuts have never been my thing either. So that question is hard for me to answer because I kind of appreciate the way that things have evolved. But I guess I wish there would have been somebody in the early stages that could have given me maybe a window into what kind of environment we would be in today as an agency, because there were a lot of people who didn't understand or believe in what we were doing in the early stages. So it was a real uphill battle for building community and faith around
somebody who could have predicted the future.
Yeah, I guess maybe not predicted the future, but just somebody to have said, this is actually going to work, and it's going to work really well. So I don't know. I guess that's one thing.
That makes sense.
I think also one of the things that I've learned so we've been in business for 6.5 years. And one thing that I find fascinating is that there is a real 2-year cycle in entrepreneurship, at least for us, where I've experienced very significant shifts at the 2-year mark. So at year 2, at year 4, and at year 6, we had very meaningful changes that happened in our business right at those markers. And I think maybe one of the things, if I were to try and come up with something that I would have liked to have known in the beginning, is that you just make it that 2 years and then it's going to become clear. Make it that next 2 years and it's going to become clear. And that clarity is going to look different every time, but it's going to take you to the next level. So I don't know. I think that 2-year thing is one of the most sort of fascinating things to have 6 years now where we can say there are some patterns, and that evolution can be slightly more predictable, even though the unpredictable stuff is kind of fun too.
What's so unique about the Black Sheep Agency?
The Black Sheep Agency, first of all, the people. To give you a little background, Barbara introduced me very eloquently. We're a cause-based brand shop. And that's because we have to label ourselves as something. It's very hard to label. So I'm constantly questioning, what do we call ourselves? Because a lot of people say that we're a PR firm. A lot of people call us a marketing agency. And there's just nothing that feels quite right. But we are an agency that works on brand strategy and everything that falls under the communications umbrella, specifically for 3 kinds of clients. That's nonprofits, civic organizations or causes, and for-profit companies who want to put social responsibility at the epicenter of their brand story. And we made that declaration 2 years ago. That was one of our big shifts.
Good one.
And that really sets us apart. But the people are what makes our business, to me, so rewarding, so different, and makes it stand apart. I've managed to find 10 people who believe that we can really make an impact, and their life and their work is very integrated, and their work is a very huge part of who they are. So when that is the case, the work is just different.
Yes.
It's almost indescribable how
passion.
different it can be. It's passion, and it makes up who they are. It gives their life meaning. And when you have those kind of people working as a team, we're unstoppable.
Let me ask you about that teamwork, because obviously it's your business. You're the CEO. You're the buck stops your person. How do you control because sometimes people can go to extremes with creativity. How do you keep it in check to keep control of what people do?
Well, we're a strategic firm too, and I think that really grounds us. A lot of people want to be creative, to be for the sake of being creative. They want to be outlandish. They want to push boundaries as far as they can go. And we do push boundaries, but we do that grounded in strategy. So every bit of creativity that we put forth is laddering back to a very specific goal and a very specific strategy. So no one flies off into space with this lack of gravitational pull. We're all rooted back to what we're trying to accomplish.
We'll be back with more of that. We're going to find out more about all the great agency, the Black Sheep Agency. And you're listening to Small Business Magazine Talk Show on the
SBT Magazine Radio Network.
At Affordable Searches, our mission is to provide our customers with the most thorough background check possible to protect you, your employees, and also your business. We do so by contracting with companies across the country that provide us with the best information possible and in a quick turnaround time. Our turnaround times average anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. Our pricing is very competitive, and we are always here for you. We're always here to answer any questions you have. Please give us a call at 1-877-685-6691, and we'll be glad to answer each and every question that you have.
And welcome back to Small Business Magazine Talk Show
on the
SBT Magazine Radio Network. Yeah, that's our own particular in and out.
In and out.
That's what we call it.
Up and down.
Yeah, all
sideways.
That. So we like doing that, just shouting it out. And if you're joining us this late in the show, you can always hear it on an audio link. Will be on Small Business Magazine Facebook page right after the show. The complete audio link to the show.
Or it'll be on my Facebook page, Barbara Davis Levine or Steve Levine.
Or Premier Agent Magazine Facebook page.
All these names, yes.
And then within 48 hours, we should have a high-definition YouTube video. And by the way, our website has an archive. We'll have the archives for all of the YouTube videos that we've done here.
Isn't that exciting?
All the shows will be archived on our website. How about that? With another button you can click on our website to get to hear the show right from there. Some of these things are still being worked on. But we're back with Aimee Woodall with
the Black Sheep Agency. And it's a cause.
Charter member of our writer club, by the way.
I know that. And, we have, just to preface, we have about 40, 45 submissions every month. And we only take 20, 25. And again, it can't be an infomercial. It's all about something that's providing value to the reader, that it's not looking like something that's just swayed in the direction. So one thing I can be assured is Aimee has really great, fresh content that is thought provoking. And that's the most important thing. Say, oh, wow, that's great ideas. And that's what you want is these aha.
She's real tough.
Yeah.
If it even breathes like a promotion, like a case study about a company, no.
Nobody wants to read that.
And besides the 40 writers we have that we email to, there's another at least 10 or 15 a month that say, would you interview this person so they can talk about their company and their product? No,
they can be
if it smells like an ad, buy an ad. You can do a profile. We do those all the time.
But they got to pay for it.
But you got to pay for it.
That's right.
So we are very protective of the editorial integrity.
And talking about you chosen, because I know that when you rebranded yourself, you chose to use the words cause-driven brand shop. Focused on accelerating impact and having audiences around. So the purpose of that, when you're dealing with corporate social responsibility, what do you say to them or about what they should be doing?
That's a great question, and something that's a really big subject. We started in business focused on doing work that we felt like had a meaningful purpose. So we wanted to work with clients that had a meaningful purpose. So we started with a social responsibility slant from the beginning. When we shifted a couple of years ago, we just got to the point as a company where we had the stability to be able to take that leap. When we're looking to work with clients, nonprofits are very clearly aligned with having social responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
That's their core purpose. But when you look at for-profit companies, that's not necessarily always the case. And right now, because we are the only cause-driven agency in town, a lot of companies come to us that are already motivated to give back and create change in that way. But a lot of times clients come to us and they want to work with us because they've heard good things or because someone referred them. And when I talk to them about the kinds of clients that we work with, they may say, well, we don't currently do that, but we'd like to, or we've been thinking about it, or tell us why we should do that. And what I try to explain, I think the most basic answer to that is you should do that because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
So that's what's, for me, why I do it, why I think other people should do it. But I think the deeper answer as far as successful marketing goes, in addition to that, is that the consumer landscape is shifting. The millennial generation is overly talked about, but rapidly taking over. The baby boomer generation is fading as the largest demographic. Behind the millennial generation, we have Generation Z. And the millennial generation and Generation Z have very dramatic differences. But the one thing that they share, if you're looking at the Venn diagram in the middle, is that they believe that social responsibility and giving back and having a sense of purpose at the core of your business is non-negotiable. And so what I am trying to educate on is that this is not optional anymore. This may feel optional to companies right now, but this is not optional. This is going to become a consumer demand and expectation if we are not saying that it is that already. So that's what I try to educate on. And then the trap that we have to make sure that we don't fall into there is that social responsibility has to remain authentic. And so people can't do this to market. Yeah. People have to do
because they care.
Because they care and what they believe in, and something that is true to the core values of their brand. So those are some of the things that I try to have as a part of my potential client conversations. This is an expectation for us, but it may come as a surprise to you that this is an expectation that is broadening to become a mainstream expectation. And I want you to start thinking about what matters to you, because that needs to become a core part of your business in a very real and true way.
Well, I think commend you. I think that's wonderful, because from the get-go, and this has always been my passion, and this part of my Judaic background, is mitzvah. Mm-hmm. One of the 613 commandments is to go and to be giving, to help somebody else. And it's done because it's the right thing, not because you're looking for brownie points in heaven. Mm-hmm. And so acts of kindness. And I always said that no matter what, our magazine would always offer anything to a nonprofit to give the free promotion of their event that we want to sponsor and give them that opportunity to promote it, come on the air and talk about it. We don't want anything for that. We just, because it's the right thing. Mm-hmm. And that had to be part of our identity, who we are. And we've taken people that didn't average, that didn't do anything, and held their hand and made the right introductions. Mm-hmm. And for example, a pastor that's now got coffee products being distributed in Sam's Club,
breaking to Costco, and 80% of his profitability goes for battered women's shelters and homeless,
and hiring the wounded warriors. So that's exciting to know. That's us. Awesome. And now I am on the advisory board of an organization that people really are not aware of. Worldwide, if you have an organization, I don't have a charity that if they want to be worldwide, this one's AchieveNepal.org. And the problem is people are not aware, after the major earthquake there, 500,000 people were without homes. And because there is a blockade, the roads into there from China are blocked because of the rock slides. So the only way for supplies to come in, humanitarian efforts, is through India, and India has a blockade. because of government reasons. So this orphanage that I'm trying to help has 30 children, and they're only needing $2 a day. That'll cover 2 meals and a snack. And they're just trying to just make it and pay their rent because cost of any flat land, we're living in a tent. And in fact, they were in an orphanage, and because the owner of the building, his house was destroyed, he took over the orphanage building and kicked them out, and they were living in a tarp. And it's winter, and they're freezing to death, and they don't have clothing. So that's why, if you find a group that needs
we can take the rest of the show to tell you, this isn't to be braggadocious, but all the charities and nonprofits that we support physically, financially, with our media, Truly Fed Ministries and Divine Uganda, World Youth Foundation, whatever we can do, that's part of our brand.
Yeah.
We're really good at giving it away.
So if you need a list, so say, hey, I don't have one, we can provide you a list, because I always believe you want to support the ones that don't have the national media, the campaigns, that the individual ones, the ones that are just started by a couple people. They're now like the Vine Uganda. They've adopted all these children in Uganda, and they're here. And
some of our children raising their siblings.
Other children, yeah. That's like out of the 500,000 homeless people, there's a vast majority are orphans in Nepal. These crazy stuff. I mean, my heart I want to go help everybody, every homeless person, every sign, everything. So I commend you that's where your focus is, and
it should be.
And it should be. But so I'm glad that we brought this to attention. Mm-hmm. And so tell me now, the Black Sheep Agency. Mm-hmm. You chose that name. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the background of that. Where did it come from?
Well, it is an embodiment of the agency that we intended to build. Black sheep are notorious for standing out and ruffling feathers. And, there can be a negative connotation with that, but we intended to bring the nature of the black sheep, that kind of against the grain, not fitting in, pushing when others are pulling kind of vibe to the agency world. And then on top of that, there's a nice compliment to the fact that we really make our clients stand out from the rest of the flock of their competitors. So there's a lot of rebelliousness in our brand, but also a lot of really strategic thinking as far as having a screaming difference that makes people stand up and take notice.
Can you give an example of something you're really proud of, a campaign you came up with that just really amplifies that screaming, look at us ideas?
It's hard to pick just one, because that's what we're really trying to pull out of everything we do. I'm very proud of the work that we've done with neighborhood centers over the last 6 years. They've been a client for 6 years now. They were one of our first clients. Neighborhood centers was Houston's best kept secret, and the work that they were doing was so incredibly inspiring that we had to build something that mattered around it, that opened up a window of opportunity for people to participate in moving the brand forward. So I feel like the For Good movement for neighborhood centers really, Houston has 18,000 and counting nonprofits, and that campaign really helped neighborhood centers to stand out from that massive group. Another campaign that I'm really proud of is the White House campaign that we worked on this past year for Better Make Room and the First Lady. That is something that we spent a lot of time researching. Generation Z, the generation just below, coming up behind the millennial generation, and we sparked a conversation about the need to continue your education after high school and why that's important. We're in the throes of that right now, but it's something that it's very disruptive. Something like that has never happened out of the White House. And we had the honor of working with the First Lady to, shake that new territory.
One thing people don't realize, preceding the graduating high school is a pattern for young women to drop out in 11th grade, or they never continue 12th grade. So that would also go back step one grade before that, and keep the young women that are candidates more likely to drop out.
Mm-hmm. This campaign is actually it's starting way earlier than that with this conversation, and it is
good.
It is definitely very inclusive of women, and also low income and minority areas where, frankly, we struggle to have those conversations and to get to establish the right path for kids to understand the opportunity and the possibility, and to connect them to the resources and then the mentors that they need in order to not feel overwhelmed by what they should do next.
Is this campaign dealing, of course, with education? Tell me more. Does it help get mentors for kids, or what? Tell me a little more in depth about the campaign.
The campaign is meant to put students in the driver's seat. So the creative was developed based on what we know about Generation Z, which is that they like to talk and listen to each other. They like to express themselves. They have their hands in a lot of different things, their attention on a lot of different things. And so we have very quick moments where we can connect with them and where they connect with each other. And so, yes, the campaign is intended to start a conversation so that they can become mentors to each other. And also so that they can talk about what their plans are, what their struggles are, what the possibilities are, and they can almost broaden their counselor network by connecting to resources, whether that's themselves or something outside of that, like a counselor, a mentor, or other, opportunities.
Real quick, what's your website? How they can get in touch with you?
Our website is theblacksheepagency.com. www.theblacksheepagency.com.
Fantastic.
We've got to go to another break, but we're going to be back with Aimee Woodall with the Black Sheep Agency and more about what she's doing in a project with the First Lady. I think that's very intriguing. And after these messages, and you're listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show
on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.
Are you looking for a professional film production company that will record and direct the production of your film for any business, talent, product, or service? MovieWhip.com has professionals that will get your production done. If you have a business, talent, product, or service that you believe to be a knockout, MovieWhip will not only film your production, but will edit, put it on the internet, and maintain it so that it may be searched and found at the top of search engines. When a customer sees your commercial online, they have an option to click on a link to direct them to your contact page we create for you that is hosted on MovieWhip.com. All of your film productions, contact info, and a form email will be displayed on your MovieWhip page. Your videos will be searchable towards the top of the most popular search engines with keyword search optimization. You may also share your MovieWhip page link with whomever you want to view your film production.
And welcome back. You're listening to Small Business Day Magazine
Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network. You know, great shows always consist of great content from great guests.
That's right.
And we're just here to help it along, and Aimee Woodall is one of the best.
With the Black Sheep Agency, again, how can people reach you, Aimee?
They can reach us through our website at theblacksheepagency.com.
Fantastic. Now, Aimee, talk more about this campaign and how can people find out more about getting involved with it, dealing with the White House and the First Lady?
So the campaign is called Better Make Room, and they can find, depending on the channels that they live in on social media or on the web, they can find the campaign by searching the Better Make Room hashtag. We're also working on several initiatives that involve volunteers. Something that I'm really proud of is that this campaign came out of Houston. When you
how did it initiate? How did it begin that you got involved?
So I worked on another project with the president in February.
And how did that happen?
Oh, one thing led to another. I have a few connections in D.C. And just got my foot in the door.
That's wonderful.
And had the honor of working on a project there. And then that project allowed me to get to know several people in the Office of Public Engagement, which allowed me the opportunity to bring our agency to work on this campaign for higher education. And, you know, it's not often that Houston is on the creative industry radar nationally. And so I'm very proud that this
should be.
It should be. It should absolutely be. And I think that we are rising to the top to get some attention. But we had the opportunity to work on this campaign, and I'll tell you that we couldn't do it alone. So we had several of our amazing agency friends and collaborators work on this project with us to help get it off the ground.
Who are they? Do you want to mention them?
Sure. So we worked with L Creative, Primer Gray, Always Creative, and Poetic Systems to help build some of the strategy, the creative, and the technology that helps power the campaign. But it was such an amazing experience to rally as representatives of Houston to make this happen. And so that's an opportunity that we want to continue to share. So right now we're looking for, and we've been approached by a lot of just amazing people in the community that say that they're proud that this is happening out of Houston, and that they also are very concerned and interested in supporting the cause, because education is important to them and they really believe in the potential. So we're working on a few volunteer opportunities that will allow us to build some capacity around the campaign to do even more grassroots outreach to educational institutions and other organizations who really build support for this cause. So some of that will be happening. So we'd love to hear from anyone who wants to help out with the campaign, to be a part of the campaign in any way, and to kind of become a part of this Houston network that is powering this movement and this shift in conversation for this generation. There's no shortage of opportunity. There's so much potential, and there's such a need for us to really explore and support these kids. So
let me ask you a question, because it is initiated through the White House. Eventually, the administration ends. Is it going to be something that'll be self-perpetuity?
So that's a great that's a great question. I
was going to ask it first,
and I should, of course, I should correct in that this is a campaign that's in partnership with the White House, was personal to Michelle Obama, and the campaign is actually housed with an organization called Civic Nation, which is a nonprofit dedicated to civic engagement for youth across America. So the campaign is actually housed with Civic Nation, and therefore, lucky for all of us, it's not administration specific. So
it's autonomous.
When the administration changes, this campaign can live on and the momentum can continue. And hopefully the next administration may support it in one way or another, but it is something that will continue on, and the kids will carry the torch, and we will continue to put fire behind it as well.
Aimee, let us know how Small Biz Today can continue to contribute to getting the word out.
That'd be great.
And if there's some function or something you want to utilize us to promote, we'd be happy to.
That'd be great.
Keep us on your media list.
Yeah.
Anytime it has to do with a nonprofit or anything that's benefiting the community, whether it's local or nationwide, worldwide, we're there for you.
We're very proud of our involvement with the World Youth Foundation. We're very proud of our relationship with the Business Professionals of America, which is a junior high and high school club that encourages entrepreneurship. We just did some judging. I did some judging.
Yeah, I was ill. Yeah.
This past weekend in Sugar Land.
But I previously
done
judging.
Amazing teams on small business. HCC, Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Business, HCC Business Plan Competition. A lot of charities. We've had everything on the show and helped to promote. So.
We have a few toolkits that are for educational institutions. There are some things that kids can do in the classroom, teachers can use as lesson plans. There are some things that other organizations who support the cause can do to demonstrate that support and help, scale the movement.
How do they get them? How do they access them?
Well, there are several things on the Better Make Room website, which is bettermakeroom.org. But then in addition to that, they can reach out to our office directly, and we'd be happy to send those things along. One way that you can very easily show support and encourage kids to get involved is through social media. There's a commitment feature on the Better Make Room website that says saying things out loud makes them happen. Tell us how you'll reach higher. And it allows them to actually say, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to be. Here's what my next step is. And then that commitment pulls right into the website. And that commitment also pulls into a lot of the campaign materials. So you'll see you can see the kids. It's really neat because the campaign launched with celebrity involvement, but really the creative message behind Better Make Room is that we idolize celebrities and athletes, and these celebrities and athletes, while they launched the campaign, are flipping the message and saying it's time that we make room for the next generation, these young people who are doing amazing things. So we're flipping that, and in that, when they make these commitments, we're pulling their message to the top and putting that in the spotlight. So there's an opportunity there as well. We've had 200 million social media impressions already.
It's wonderful.
And 500 or more than 500 now press hits. So there are a lot of people talking about this, but not enough. I mean, we want everyone in America to know about this message and to, in some way, get behind it with the kids at the front. The kids being at the front is the most important thing.
Sure.
As you grow older, as we all do, God willing, how are you going to stay topical?
That's
wow. Holy
zinger.
Moly. Wow.
Zinger. I'm 38 years old, and
She looks like she's 20s.
I know.
Thank you. And I have a very young, progressive team, and I think that's something that's important to appreciate. As we get older, I think everyone fears the possibility of becoming disconnected
Or stagnant.
or yeah. And in order to hold on to that relevance, I think we have to understand and appreciate the generations. I mean, I think it works both ways. I want to appreciate what came before me and have an understanding of what's resonating in that demographic, but I also want to hold on to what's happening. It helps to be surrounded by a young team, but at the same time, you have to have an investment in wanting to know what's new and what's coming up. And I think this project, more than anything, has made me very aware of that, because we spent 6 months researching Generation Z while everyone else was still talking about millennials. And so we have a very strong awareness of what is coming and what younger people are drawn to right now and how they're seeing the world, which is very night and day different from me, even more so different from my parents, and even different from the millennial generation, which I think is a huge danger if we all aren't paying attention to those differences, because every generation is watching the generation before them and being shaped by the generation before them. And that has never rang truer to me than when I started looking at this generation and seeing, oh, they're not just the same as the millennial generation.
What's the biggest difference between the millennial generation and Generation Z?
Well, there are a few. I think one of the huge ones is that they have an 8-second attention span.
Meaning Z.
Yes. They have an 8-second attention span. I don't know who measures that, but
I don't know.
but they have an on average 8-second attention span. So our communication to them has to be very snackable. It has to be very fast.
Snackable.
I like that.
And then another interesting thing that I figured out through this research is that, well, they're certainly not talking on the phone. They're texting.
Right.
They're not subscribing to email lists. I don't think that really came as a surprise, but they're not emailing. They want instant gratification, so they're texting fast, they're texting in shorthand, they're texting in emojis.
I'm finding I'm totally like oblivious to my emails. Like, it's strictly either you want to get in touch with me, either call me or message me. I'm noticing that, but my emails are like going by the wayside, so I can appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything that feels forced to them or shaped and brought down is not something they're not going to pay attention to it. It's not going to not resonate with them. They're not even going to see it. They're going to tune it out. So what we have to do as marketers, especially, but also as parents, as communicators, as educators, exactly, is we have to find ways to allow them to be a part of the conversation and almost take a step back to let them shape the conversation. There's some interesting statistics about marketing campaigns and how Generation Z is going to want to fiddle with everything and kind of make it their own. So I think self-expression is wildly important. I think participation has never been more important. And the more we can create opportunities, and for me that means create engagement campaigns where they're truly engaging and we kind of let go of a little bit of the control, the more successful we're going to be in motivating them and in establishing a community for them.
What age group is Generation Z?
It's age 13 to 18.
So what's after Z? What's coming up?
I don't know yet. We're just starting to talk about
I have a hypothesis because I was at an event and my son was actually helped setting up for one of the nonprofits. It was the Vines group, and he was helped doing their lighting. Mm-hmm. And then one of the person that was in charge showing him what they needed to be done, sitting next to a little girl.
Was it Night of Superstars or was it the Vine? I think it was the Night of Superstars.
Did you help the Night of Superstars? Oh, that was it. Okay. Anyway, it was Night of Superstars. You're right. So there's a little girl, and she's like 7. She's reading a book. Mm-hmm. I see she's got an iPad or whatever she had. I said, "Why are you choosing the book?" I like to turn the page. I like to be able to write on it. Do you think that that's going to suddenly have a renaissance? Hard to know, huh?
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at 7, I don't think parents are sitting with their children and reading to them on Kindle. I think
No, she had a Kindle and she had a book.
No, I understand
yeah.
that. I understand that, but I don't think parents are sitting and reading to their kids on Kindles.
They're reading books.
They're reading books, and so at 7, I think she's probably still in the stage of connecting with that experience, and so
It's hard to tell.
later she may evolve to the Kindle. I don't know.
No, and she may have been 9, but regardless, she was still old enough to have.
I still read books. I don't
Yeah.
read on a Kindle.
So
who knows?
I don't know.
I
That's what
like
I'm
the word
wondering.
Renaissance. That's why we still do a luxury publication,
minutes.
mainly as a sample,
3 minutes.
for people, because you can't touch, feel, see a digital immediately. And the fallacy with the digital publications or digital media is we have such short attention span. I don't think 8 seconds is a whole lot of time, But then again, it may be a lot of time for somebody who's got all those other diversions when they're online, where there's still a luxury to having a print publication. Maybe I grew up on it. My first Boys Life magazine, just for me. I don't know, but I think there's a return to that, to having the time and the opportunity to read an actual print publication. That's not gone. It may be for Generation Z or Double Z or Triple Z or whatever comes after that. But I think Barbara's word Renaissance in that, and I find the most influential people are still preferring to have a print media in their hand. So once again, how someone gets a hold of you, Aimee, the website?
The easiest thing is theblacksheepagency.com, but you can search any search engine or social media site and find the Black Sheep Agency. We're online as our thing. So
Let me ask closing words. Would you like to say to anybody in business? Why should they be a renegade? Why should they be a black sheep like you?
I don't think the important thing is to be a black sheep per se. That works for me because that's who I am. I think the most important advice I can give anyone in business is to be true to who you are and what is important to you. And that's why being a black sheep and a renegade has worked for me, because that's that's the core of who I am. I've always kind of been outspoken and kind of gone against the grain. So I would say being yourself is the most important thing. And as you grow your business, to reflect on what that means, because that may change over time. And nothing has felt better to me than entering our 6th year of business and really just having no doubt who we are and being able to be completely unapologetic about that, about who we are, about the kind of people we want to work with, and what that looks like and what we can accomplish if those things all align. So that's probably my biggest.
Amazing show.
I think terrific show.
Amazing speaker and guest today. And if you missed any part of this, it's on the
Talking the mic.
MixLR link. Will be on Small Business Today magazine, Premier Asia magazine, my own Facebook page, all those Facebook pages, and
Again,
Barbara's Facebook page.
Right, and we also to get a subscription to Small Business Today magazine. It's smallbusinesstodayMagazine.com or sbtmagazine.net.
That's right, and you'll be able to search Aimee's name,
Aimee Woodall, or the Black Sheep Agency, or
all of the
marketing, or
ever contributed to
or
the magazine.
CSR. The terminology, CSR.
And I don't think she's missed anything. So
No.
I don't think she's skipped an issue at all. She's always been
Corporate
right there.
service responsibility.
She must like the magazine. But anyway, great show today. Thank you for being here, Aimee.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Jerry.
Anytime you want to come back. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Jerome. And you've been listening to Small Business Today Magazine Talk Show on the SBT Magazine Radio Network.